partners of Sleep Talkers or Sleepwalkers. What gems have you to share? One night, my boyfriend woke me up in the middle of the night, tapping me on my shoulder. He put his finger on his mouth, whispered shush to me, then pointed at the door and told me I can hear something. Don't move. Predictably, I nearly ass my pants. All the worst possible scenarios crossed my mind, and the moment of silence after he shushed me felt like hours. Then, he started waving his hands and talking about Tetris, the twirlies, IDK, and making sure we don't align. And that's how I learned my boyfriend talks in his sleep. The wave of relief that you must have felt after that must have been crazy. Also, I doubt you got back to sleep lol. Yeah, I couldn't sleep for a while, but laughed it off in the morning. My mom sleepwalks sometimes. When she was in the middle of her residency, she came into my room in the middle of the night and sharply asked, "Did you give patient her dose of medication like I asked you to 15 minutes ago?" I groggily replied, "Who? Wah?" She just huffed and said, "Well, I guess that answers my question," before turning around and leaving. Without closing the door, of course. She didn't remember a thing about it the next morning. What is it with moms never closing bedroom doors? It transcends age, race, location and all other demographics imaginable. If you're a mom, bedroom doors do not close. It is the way. To the moms reading this, be the change. I always close the doors, but my wife never does. Our daughter says she always knows who's been where because of this fact. Ever ask her seriously why this is? It's a phenomenon that needs an explanation. Dude, I have been living with my mom. Or rather, she's been living with me since COVID. She never shuts the doors. She likes a breeze. Even if it's my door she is leaving open, and she's not in my room. She knows I like it closed. It just doesn't occur to her to close it. Or she doesn't give a ref what I say and just acts like she cares to placate me, just to leave the effing doors open again. Every day. Fantastic sleep songs with lyrics, which are utterly bizarre. My two absolute favorites have been 1. Oh whoa whoa. It's a corner cat. 2. Obey my rules. And you'll always be a country cowboy. Repeated about 5 times and finished with a apostrophe. Corner cat is amazing. That might make it into a song of mine. That was literally it as well. Like a jingle from a TV advert. No context, warning or other words or lyrics whatsoever. Absolutely incredible. In my head it's to the tune of Sweetest Thing. Dunno if that's the title of the song. My aunt likes to tell the story about her and my cousin sharing a hotel room one time. My aunt woke up having to pee and found my cousin sitting up in bed with her arms folded across her abdomen, kind of rocking back and forth and giggling quietly. When my aunt asked her what she was doing, my cousin said, "I'm holding a baby and it has an adult smile." I found this story deeply unsettling. Get the holy water. Holy hand grenade. My missus called me a wriggly little enzyme while she sleeping. I've never ever heard her use that word before. Is she a biologist or something? No, I asked her the next day and she was unaware what an enzyme was lol. Sigh. My boyfriend either recites postcodes, delivery driver, or calls the dog in his sleep. So either he is mad no one is responding to his postcode nonsense or I get a flying 30-kilogram dog to my body. I'd like to imagine that he wakes up and calls the dog just to F with you. Ex rumored talked in his sleep. Once, he cried out, "No Gandalf, don't tempt me. Frodo, what are you doing step Frodo in 7 years?" This is the first comment that's had me laughing uncontrollably. This is going to be one of those things I remember years from now and burst out laughing in a meeting or something. So thanks for that. I have had funnier experiences than this one, but cannot remember exactly what was said. Most recently, though, my boyfriend scoots over to me to big spoon / little spoon, and I snuggle in, thinking that's all it was. Then he gets real close to my ear and whispers, "Just so you know, there's something in the closet," like a cartoon turtle. I did my best not to bust out laughing and just said, "Okay honey." When he woke up, he had no memory of it whatsoever. Of course. Were you the slightest bit concerned of the cartoon turtle? I would have checked the closet, then you would not survive the horror movie. Could have been a teenaged mutant one. They're good guys. Heck yes. Please take a seat. My wife was an avid sleep talker for a long time and her midnight announcements range from simple single words to elaborate speeches. The ones that really stand out to me are waking up in the middle of the night to her suddenly sitting violently up in bed, throwing back the covers, and screaming, "Tarantula. That will make you very awake. Very quickly," whispering my name repeatedly, which woke me up so she could share in a hushed, cautious voice, "There is an alligator in here." When I expressed my concern, playing along, she told me, still whispering, that it's okay, it has been here before. But my all-time favorite was when, from her perspective as she later explained, she was dreaming that I was playfully sneaking up on her and she saw me and was calling me on it. From my perspective, my wife sat up in the middle of the night, starting into the darkest corner of the room, and said repeatedly in a soft sing-song voice, "I see ya." My flipping blood froze. TLDR, my wife is terrifying. Okay, the last one is terrifying. My wife was mumbling a lot and suddenly shouted "donkey kick" as she kicked me in my shin. So that was fun. My wife was in her finals week, so she woke up in the middle of the night telling me she discovered a way to study while sleeping. So I asked her how, and she closed her eyes and went back to sleep. Presumably not wrong. Lol. Maybe she accidentally discovered a realm where dreams and consciousness are one and the same, and now that knowledge is lost forever. My girl woke up one night and said, "Did you find your rocks?" And I asked her what she was talking about, and she said, "I don't know. I'm just trying to make conversation," and promptly went back to sleep. She has no recollection of this. Well, you obviously weren't being talkative enough. Napping with the boyfriend. A loud noise wakes me, but has still out me. What was that? Him, either a tree or a magic eraser. Mr. Clean hiding in your closet looking real nervous after that. This one made me properly guffaw out loud. My mom used to wake me up for school because I'd sleep through my alarms. She has a bunch of stories about weird s I've said to her right before waking. "He's not here. Check down the street. Just put it on the roof and it'll blow away." My mom has to do this with my younger brother, and most recently he sat up while still asleep, started moving his arms really quickly as though running, and said, "I'm the fastest man alive, Barry Allen." Was he telling Barry that he was that fastest, or was he supposed to be Barry, asking the real questions? My mum jumped my dad because in her dream he was a thief that stole an old lady out of the hospital, so she had to catch him. Edit. I slept over it for a night, and while reading it again, I realized it was the other way around. She thought she had to protect the old lady, so she decided to jump on her to protect her from the thief. Then she woke up on top of my dad, a whole woman. Years ago, my wife was mumbling in her sleep and seemed a bit upset. I wanted to comfort her without waking her up too much, so I said, "Honey, you're fine. Do you know where you are?" She slugged me in the arm and said, "I'm in place where punch buggies are seen first." She then rolled over and muttered to herself, "Chugga chugga chugga buddy," and went back to sleep. She didn't remember a thing the next morning. My wife started screaming one night that she was lost in the local grocery store, and that no matter where she went she couldn't find her way out. I asked her, has she tried checking out at the cash registers? She then looked at me and said in her most sincere voice, "That's why you are the smartest person I know." And she rolled over and fell back asleep. Oh, that's super cute. I too got the feels. Apparently, very early in our relationship, my wife said I suddenly sat bolt upright, swept my arm around, knocking everything off the bedside table, screaming, "Evil baby, have to kill it." She always brings it up to new people we meet. Not a partner, but 1 o'clock in the morning I got a phone call from my friend in the next street. My 6-year-old daughter had just knocked on her door and then walked in mumbling about not being able to do her sums. I raced up there and walked home with her, put her back to bed, and she didn't wake up or remember a thing the next day. By the next night our house was like Fort Knox. Reminds me of my sleepwalking incident when I was that age. My babysitter was out walking with her boyfriend at 10 p.m. and found me curled up, sleeping on the sidewalk a block away from our house. They picked me up and brought me home. And apparently I had turned on every light as I left. Fort Knox. After that incident, my dad had to climb through the kitchen window if he had to work late. All the doors had latches out of my reach. One night my brother and I were staying at our grandparents' house and I was in a room with my grandma and my little brother was sleeping in my grandparents' room with my grandpa. My grandpa woke up in the middle of the night and my brother wasn't there. When my grandpa went to look for him, he discovered that my brother had unlocked the front door and was walking around outside in the yard. Apparently he was trying to sleepwalk the half-mile back to our house. We were lucky my grandpa caught him in time because we live on a farm in the middle of nowhere and my brother was only 6 or 7 at the time.